welcome to another episode of The End I've Always Said That podcast, or better known as the Acowar Update podcast. We're so happy you're here. Happy Wednesday, or whatever other day you're listening on. And sorry if you hate this, it's another Acowar episode. Whoop whoop! Don't know how many we'll be doing this. Probably a lot more for the foreseeable future, just due to the fact that I am fully obsessed with these books.
And we don't know when Nikki's coming back, so we don't know how much longer we will have to talk about this.
Nikki, we're making use of the time.
Nikki, if you're listening, I love you and I miss you.
We
come
miss
home,
you
the
so
kids
much.
miss you. Honey, come home, the kids miss you. That's my message to Nikki. Honey, come home.
Gary, come home.
The kids miss
Gary,
you.
come home.
But I am happy.
Home. This is not the stove, I know.
I am happy you're happy, enjoying.
Okay.
I am happy that you are happy, enjoying husband time. Soak it all in, baby. But
Okay,
just know,
some of us have fictional husbands that we need to get to.
Daddy's home waiting for you in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, yet again, another disclaimer. There will be spoilers for the Acowar series in this episode. So if you have not read it and you're interested in reading it and don't want to know anything about it,
Save this for when you do.
Bookmark this and save it for later, because we have things to say and spoiling is how we're going to say it. Okay, so with that, welcome to the third Acowar episode. Let's get into book 3.
I'm gonna be honest, I did no prep for this episode. I'm just raw dogging it.
That's the best things in life come when you raw dog it.
So,
Not an unplanned pregnancy.
I was just thinking that.
What?
Taylor said the best things in life come when you raw dog it, and I said not an unplanned pregnancy.
Oh, I thought you said yes for that. No.
Unless you're engaged, looking for a reason to get married, then someone would welcome that.
Cue the devious laughter. So I believe the end of A Court of Mist and Fury.
It ends with the twist ending where
The biggest cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
She's a high fucking lady.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine what it must have been like when you were reading these books when they came out, because
Oh
I
my
think the
God.
first 4 all came out within a year of each other, but I
It was
can't imagine
A new one each year.
like what happened when you got Mist and Fury day 1. It's out. You went to your Barnes and Noble early in the morning. You picked it up. You took the day off work.
You finish it in 2 days.
Yeah.
You finish it in 2 days, and you find out it ends on a cliffhanger.
No.
Like, I read the last sentence. I didn't have the rest of the series. I literally and ordered the other 3.
Mm-hmm. It was either the night of or the next morning. I was like, I need this book.
Like, you are, if you did that, you are one of the bravest people out there. You deserve a Medal of Honor, a Medal of Valor. I don't know what else.
Sarah J. Maas needs to give you an early release of the next one.
You deserve to cut the line at any establishment. Just be like, I read A Court of Mist and Fury the day it came out. Just like raise your hand and, hey, I'll bow my head to you and I'll say, hey, you're braver
I'll get
than
on
me.
my knees.
Respect where
You're
respect
better
is
than
due.
me. You're better than me.
Mm-hmm.
So it ends on a cliffhanger.
Uh-huh.
And
Feyre
that's-
is the high lady, and she's in the spring court.
And that's where book 3 picks up.
They
Mm-hmm.
winnow into the spring court, and Lucian is like questioning her again. Like, if there's something Lucian is gonna do, it's gonna question
The
Feyre.
whole time Lucia was like, there's something off about you. And she's like, there's literally not. Shut the fuck up. I'm fine. You're being weird, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I just went through something traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
I was kidnapped. You're gonna do this to me again?
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Tears that bitch up from the inside out.
Like,
You want to say it because it's your favorite part? Book. You said you loved her being a girl boss.
Oh, she is such a girl boss. I got such a girl crush on Feyre in this book. Like, book 2 is like top tier, but book
It's the best
3,
book.
book 3, specifically part 1 and the beginning of part 2, before like all the war strategy really happens, I'm just like, holy shit, she is a girl boss. Like, she is ruining Tamlin. She is getting her revenge. And I'm so happy for her.
She destroys that court from
The inside out.
really.
Like, as I was reading it, I was like, yes, Feyre. Like, I could not be, like, I was like, you, because she's my friend. And I was like, yes, you go, girl. Like,
she plays a long game, which I appreciate.
She is so smart for someone who is illiterate. Like, not that long ago. She is so smart.
Something I'm going to say is, and feel free to agree or disagree, there's nothing more that I can't stand more than short-sighted people. People who only have, like, they...
I thought you meant, like, literally, like, they can't see.
People who
No,
need glasses.
I'm nearsighted.
Oh.
So no. But no, I can't stand short-sighted people. People who only have short-term goals. And you see someone like Tamlin, he is never thinking long-term about any of his strategies.
He is very much like, let's get through the next week and see where the wind takes us.
Let's get through the next week, the next month. There is no next year, 5 years, and they live forever. So,
like, I get it to the point where it's like, oh, live every day like it's your last. Like, live whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he's such a himbo. He has zero thoughts behind the eyes.
Also, like, live every day like it's your last. To me, like, I also think of that as like long-term goals, because it's like, I don't know, don't you want, like, you have to build something to achieve a victory of some sort.
Tamlin, I kind of picture like every day is kind of like a frat party. Like, he's playing a mean fiddle.
He's playing
the fiddle at a darty.
Fiddle.
And
he's hanging upside down from the tree playing the fiddle.
He is the frat president, and Lucian is
the treasurer.
The treasurer.
Yeah. But no, like, so it's interesting to see a lot of these characters play a very long game, where you see their short-term strategies with the intent of achieving a long-term goal, and how they best Tamlin, and eventually, you know, later in the book, throughout the war, like, other enemies that they have, because there's quite a few in this book, because they were able to strategize for a long game.
They're always 5 steps ahead in this book.
And I know
I'm like,
you're playing checkers.
Yeah,
they're playing chess.
And I'm getting
the Court of Dreamers is playing chess.
Very analytical here, but I think that there's something to that. It's not just the things that they did, it's how they did them.
Yeah, and they were leaning on each other. But also what I loved is Feyre was doing it all on her own. It wasn't like she's
incredibly
talking
smart.
to
and tactile.
Rhysand.
Yes.
And being like, hey, like, what should we do? She planned everything on her own, because her and Rhysand couldn't really talk to each other through the bond, because they didn't want his smell to still linger.
I think it's also important, though, that they couldn't, because it proves that A, she was smart. She was smart. B, she was capable. And C,
she's proved she's a high lady.
I thought it was very intentional that they, even though you don't want them to be apart, you know, like they're mates, but the whole issue she had with Tamlin was that she was codependent on him.
He was also always underestimating her.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he wouldn't let her leave his sight, but also not take on any danger. Like, she couldn't go on missions, she couldn't do whatever. So this was really like a true, like, also where I was like, oh, Rhysand, like, he let her go, and he's trusting her to do what she's doing.
And she was her own independent self aside from him, but that didn't negatively impact the connection they had. And so I really enjoyed the juxtaposition of that.
I really like the chapter where it explained about, which was the night where she was dancing, she got so hot.
Oh.
She made sure to show everyone she got so hot so she could put on her laciest nightgown. She made sure to use her powers to feel out the house and feel when Tamlin was kind of like rumbling and like working up the courage to go to the door.
When Tamlin was rumbling.
He was in
his rumble boxing
right now.
class.
So she knew that was the time to get up and go knock. She knew Lucian would be watching her door like a hawk because he doesn't trust her.
Yeah, but also,
and that they
like,
beat at the door.
Tamlin, Lucian had mentioned, like, oh, I hear you when you have your nightmares. Like, so she was like, huh, so he can hear me.
She knew. And he doesn't trust her, B. So she knew that he'd be alert.
And Tamlin doesn't want to be woken up.
Tamlin does not give a shit. So she knew the exact point to run into Lucian's arms. Be like, oh, I got a nightmare.
I just had a nightmare.
And Tamlin comes out and goes, what the fuck? And she goes, oh, I'm all better now, actually.
Good night.
Good night. And then Tamlin and Lucian sitting there like, what the fuck? That's
like,
probably one of my favorite parts of the book.
I think about that. Like, I just want to reread, like, part 1 and the beginning of part 2. But she went in. When he got so mad at her again, she made sure to show the bruises. And Lucian got fucking pissed off at him again. He was like, you did it again? Like, we sold out my mate. We did this, and this. His mate.
Well, I
the part where he goes, don't tell Elaine.
I had to fuck Ianthe. Don't tell Elaine.
Well, is that this book or book 5?
No, this book.
Oh my god. Well,
because they kill her in this book as well.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my god, you're right. Because the war.
Because calamari happened and
Calamai.
Yeah, and she like
Tamlin was too depressed.
So Calamai happened, which if you remember from our previous episodes, that's I can't remember if it's a solstice or an equinox. I think it's an equinox.
And it's like replenish magic to the spring core.
Yeah. I think it's on the spring equinox. I could be wrong though, where the king of the court, he has to go look for his mate. Essentially,
He takes like this special brew or eats
Yeah.
this special
The
thing.
contraceptive brew.
The brew.
there was no contraceptive brew that night.
It was Viagra.
Yeah, the
contraceptive Viagra.
The Viagra brew.
The horny
and-
hot chocolate.
Yeah, the horny hot chocolate. And they go and find someone in search of their mate. If they don't find their mate, they just have sex with someone that night. And it's so everyone can keep their powers. And so Tamlin was so depressed, and he's thinking about how much
He misses his woman.
Yeah, he misses his woman, who, to the best of his knowledge, his enemy has, kidnapped and stolen and whatever.
I think by that point he might have gotten the note where she
Yeah.
was like, I'm safe. I'm not coming home.
I'm not coming home. But he was so depressed that he essentially bowed out of it. But you can't
And
really do that.
He begged Lucian.
So Lucian, who wasn't,
His best friend.
but he wasn't like familially a part of that court, but
Yeah.
by association, since Tamlin brought him in, he was part of the court. So Lucian stepped in for him because Tamlin begged him to.
And Lucian, one thing, he is loyal. He's
He's
loyal.
loyal. He's a ride or die bestie.
Yeah.
Well, within limits.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. And
For
so
his woman.
Lucian is telling Feyre about this, and he goes, well, I was left with no choice. I had to fuck Ianthe, the high priestess. And then he looks at Feyre and he goes, don't tell Elaine.
Don't tell Elaine.
Now, if
Don't
you
tell
remember from a previous episode, at the end of book 2,
Lucian makes the discovery that Elaine is his mate when she is soaking wet.
when she was just
Basically naked.
like,
She's
literally
basically just
fetal
reborn.
position.
thrown out of the cauldron after it boiled her alive.
Cauldron boil.
Boil
me.
me. And he said, you're my mate. So he, had to have sex with the high priestess, and he looks at Feyre and goes, don't tell Elaine, even though Elaine wants nothing to do with him.
They don't know that by this point.
Yeah.
Well,
He doesn't know that by
He's
this
never
point.
had like a conversation with Elaine at this
Feyre is kind of aware that Elaine probably wants nothing to do with Lucian.
well, because
but
Elaine's
Lucian is-
engaged to a human.
Lucian is unaware that Elaine is not going
Yeah.
to want anything to do with him.
He's holding out hope. He's holding out hope.
They did become like little besties in their own right. Like he would ask about Elaine, and that's where he found
Yeah.
out that she likes to garden and she likes flower. Yes.
I was going to say, the reason they became besties
Yeah.
was because they were able to flee the spring court together.
Yeah.
She toppled the court from the inside out. She was on her way.
She made Tamlin like beat up a guard, a warrior, and she was like, I can't believe he did that, you guys. Like,
Oh my god, he's so crazy.
She's like,
you guys are such
you guys,
warriors.
I tried to stop him like you saw, and she did try to stop him, but
He was just a jealous little whore.
no, he was following Elaine's.
Ianthe.
He was following her barking orders because
Yeah.
he was just like her big dog for whatever reason.
Yeah, he was her
She
bitch.
kept him on a short leash. She topples it from the inside out. They do some killing of some incestuous twins. And
I
then
didn't know. Oh my god, this was at the point. So I came over to Megan and Taylor's, and I was reading the book at the table with this very table with them. They're both. You were on
4.
book number.
no,
Yes,
by that point I would have been a Court of Frost
you
and
were on
Starlight.
book number 4. Taylor was rereading one of the other books, and I was reading the 3rd book. This is when you guys made fun of me because I read like 200 pages at the table.
Insane.
Because I was so enthralled. And I get to the point where you meet these borderline incestuous twins, and I stop and I look up at them and I go, "What are these two all about?" Megan looks at me and she's like, just keep reading. I literally looked down.
The next sentence.
The next line was like,
She got hit by a wall of fire.
She got hit by a wall of fire, and then he got stabbed. What? It was
in
like,
the eye. She
in the eye.
winnowed. And
And I looked down and I went, "Oh, they're dead."
And I said,
"Oh, they're dead."
I told you, don't even worry
I
about
literally
them.
was like, "And what are they all about?" And she went, and I went, "They're dead."
yeah, and then before we leave the spring court, I wanna like just
when Ianthe was trying to have sex
Yeah.
with Lucian again.
I know, but I want to like
She's
just
so
kind
desperate.
of sum up where like Tamlin was like, I'm so much smarter than you. Like I got you back. I got the love of my life back. And I love like we don't get his monologue anymore, but we get her
You're right.
monologue.
You're right. We
And
don't, yeah.
We're looking in because we know him from the first book, from his monologue, and kind of a little bit in the second book. And we're like, where I, at least while I was reading it, I was like, oh, well, they're dancing. And he's probably thinking like, oh, I have her back. Like she has a smile on her
Life
face.
is
Like life is
good.
good. I could play my fiddle. I have my girl back. And in her head, she's like, I fucking hate him.
Yeah.
And when they're dancing at the one part, she's like, I am disgusted by every place our body is touching right
like
now.
I want to throw up. Which wouldn't have been that far
not a
off.
surprise
It really,
in
but
this book.
I think that scene is so important because it also like you see in the beginning of the series that she would literally do anything for him. She loved
She
him
literally
so much.
killed for him.
She killed for him. She essentially killed herself too.
and
for
him. She killed
him.
him for him.
And you see that
Yeah.
when the change that takes place when you break someone's trust in you, the fact that like she was so ride or die for him, and you know,
She realized he did not actually
'Cause
care.
I-
She
He
lived or
wasn't
died.
being
Again,
reciprocated. It wasn't being reciprocated.
I see so much of myself in Feyre in the beginning of the series because I am so like that, where it's like I'm such a ride or die bitch, and I will keep like giving you the benefit of the doubt, and then the second I'm like, I actually see this for what it is, like disgusted. I'm disgusted,
Yeah.
and it was just so crazy how she's literally in front of him, and she's just like, you are like, she finally sees him for what he is. And not like the potential of what he could be.
He's
And
just
she's
a man. He's not her mate.
She's literally looking at him, and she's just like, "You are the biggest disappointment I have ever had."
Well, I think you see in the beginning of the book like how broken she is, and like her
Yeah.
whole family hates her. She's the sole provider.
She's having an identity crisis.
Yeah, no one really like cares about her, and then she gets kidnapped, and she is like, I think she even said it like, I don't know if I loved you, or like she liked the idea of him, like how much he cared for her, and because she'd
Well,
never
just-
gotten that.
just
This
'cause
was the
someone
first
cares-
person who was nice to her.
Just because someone cares about you doesn't mean they love
She
you.
says that in the second book. She's like, I was stupid enough to fall for the first guy who showed me any sort of kindness.
Yeah.
Because she kept
In
calling herself
there.
stupid.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're not stupid.
But that's like, you just have that moment where you're like,
Yeah.
you literally fall for a guy who like really couldn't care if you lived or died at the end of the day, and you
you're
look
like,
at yourself in the mirror and you're like, stupid.
Well, I mean,
Well, who knows? She might have fallen for the guy she was hooking up with had he shown interest in her.
no, and
you know?
then she gets to the spring court, and Tamlin is like waiting on her hand and foot.
He doesn't
She-
just want to have sex with her at first. That's
And-
important.
like
And he's providing her a safe space to paint.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that's really all she was interested in doing. That's all she wanted to do. She was fine with just sitting around and painting because she didn't know there was more world out there to explore.
Because also you have to think like Nesta and Elaine remember being having some money.
Yeah.
She grew up basically dirt poor.
That's why
so,
she didn't know how to read.
Yeah, and so all she wanted to do was paint, and she could only, it was a luxury. So she was like, oh my God, like he's saved me. I can paint all day. I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like I have someone who's being nice to me. If I wanted to lay in the grass all day, I could lay in the grass all day. And then he's taking away, and she's so dependent on him. And then she goes to the night court, and she's like, oh, he is also nice, but he's also letting me
I can also have a
do-
job.
yeah,
I
I
can have
can-
more
Well, I can
purpose.
also
yeah.
be me. I think
Yeah.
what's important is that if you are dependent on someone who fosters dependency, that is really bad and it's really toxic. And I think that the true test of seeing if someone loves you and cares about you is if they're still there and they still want, they can be in your life with you as an independent person.
Rhysand.
Like,
Well,
it's
and
true.
she saw that with all three of the Bat brothers. Like the
the
Bat
Bat
Boys.
Boys.
The Bat Boys.
Like you see all of them. I mean, they're kind of the same person, different font, but they are all
Hey.
so nice. But they were all like, you are learning how to defend yourself.
Yeah.
You are becoming independent. You are learning how to read. You, if you're ever in trouble, are gonna rely on yourself. You're not relying on us. Like, what if we can't be there? Where Tamlin was like, you will rely on me for everything.
And if you'll indulge me here, Tamlin, I mean, if you can read between the lines, he was very insecure. The reason why men especially want women to be dependent on them or have a dependent relationship is because they are petrified of the idea of losing them, not specifically because they love them for them. It's because they kind of they have this notion of like the idea of them, and they're so afraid that like it's actually not going to be the same in like real circumstances. And I have heard this analogy a lot with abusive relationships, and I think it's so true, and you can really see it with her and Tamlin, is that there are some men who, when they meet women and they have their own personalities and they're different, they're independent and confident, they're intrigued by this. They're intrigued by the potential of it because it's different than a lot of women. And they look at them not as their own person, but in a way it's like a pretty bird that they want to put in a cage.
Yeah.
And that's what he wanted to do with her.
Well, I mean, even
and
you
that's
see
what
it
he did with her.
in the spring court, like, he truly isolated her. Like, there is nothing. Like, the only
and they
people
break and then they break them down. And then the very reason why he thought she was unique, he tried to stifle.
Well, yeah, but he truly isolated her to the mansion. I mean, the only people she was interacting with was him, Lucian, and the staff.
Yeah.
And there was, like, even you learn in the second book that there are people who live in the spring court. Like, from the first book, I wouldn't have really thought that.
She didn't she? Wasn't there a point where she was at the night court or something and she didn't know that you can, like, walk past a certain garden or, like, point on, like, the residence? She was like, you can go past this? Like,
yeah, and I mean, then you
so
go to
sad.
the night court and she's, like, going out and buying clothes. Like, there's shops.
She can go to the bar. She can go out to dinner.
I didn't know taverns existed.
She can go get drinks. She can go dancing.
Like, the night court isn't isolated. Like, there's always someone new surrounding her. Like, whether it's the people from the art gallery or it's, like, there's shops. There's, like, it's not isolated.
Yeah.
And she's interacting with different people. And it's not just Rhysand or the Court of Dreamers. It's the entire city of Velaris. And even when she goes to the night court, like, she's walking through and there's other things to do.
It's also, like, at this point in the book, obviously she wouldn't say it, but in the second book when she had that realization where she was like, I can do whatever I want, if she looked at Rhysand and was like, I know I can do whatever I want, but I just have to go to the spring court, he would have let her, you know? If they kept their deal going, let's say it worked out for another, I don't know, 10 years. If she went to the spring court one day down the line and was like, turned to Tamlin and said, I actually kind of really like that court. Like, can I go there just for funsies, even though it's not my week to be there? He would have said no. He practically probably would have shot her out back if given the opportunity.
He would have shackled her to the radiator.
He would have put up that magic force field.
I actually really enjoy my week
in
there.
her
Can I
room.
spend an extra week there? No. He would have shot her out back.
So I think in the beginning, you see that she's now very aware of this and she's using it to her advantage.
Yeah.
She is incredibly smart. She's tactile. She's agile. And the rest of the theme of the book is very much war. So you see this is the beginning of her becoming a strategist, which I personally love. I will say I think the book was great. It's probably one of my, like, lesser favorites just because it's very war heavy. This is the book. It is thick as hell. Most of it is war.
It has a lot to do
but
with
it has
war.
like little special
special
moments.
Oh.
Like when Azriel and Cassian land. So then we go. She's about to escape the spring court and go back to the night court, and you find out that the incestuous twins.
Wait, we forgot to mention the incestuous twins are the, like, evil guy of the whole thing, the King of Highburn. Those are his Goonies. Forgot to mention that. Tamlin hasn't invited the Goonies into his home.
The Goonies also get killed pretty early on.
They get killed pretty early on, but she's sitting there going, oh my god, he's inviting the fucking Goonies here?
The enemies are, I'm eating lunch with the enemies? They just turned my fucking sisters.
And they did. I think they did also try to harm her. At that point.
Because at that point they were eating the food that was stifling their magic.
Yeah.
They were feeding them the food that was stifling their magic.
Were either,
and they kept trying to go into her brain, but she had her walls up the whole time.
Yeah,
so they were never able to go into her head.
They either
they would,
harmed
like,
her or tried
scratch it.
to. Yeah.
She's like, I could feel something poking in, but, like,
I hate
my
that.
walls were up so high.
Ew.
Couldn't get in.
Just like the idea of someone, like, poking my brain.
Yeah, and then you learn, like, before she kills them, that they had been putting basically poison into their food to lessen their magic. So, like, they were like, in an hour, you're going to be useless. You're going to be basically a human.
So she kills him. We're still at the beginning of the book.
I got
rattling through really quick. She grabs Lucian.
We were like, we're not going to need the whole episode.
Tied up.
She was going to leave, essentially, Lucian there, but then saw that Ianthe was trying to, like, rape Lucian, essentially.
Oh my god, it was so bad.
Like, so bad. And, like, she got thoughts of Rhysand and was like, oh, I wish somebody would have helped him. What?
I was in the middle of explaining it.
Sorry.
And you just went on to start explaining it as well.
Go on.
I just get so excited.
So then she goes into her head, makes her smash her hand, and is like, you will never tell anyone about this. You're going to tell someone you fell. Grabs Lucian. They have to go on the run now. They're using every last bit of magic the two of them have to get out of this sticky situation, to get to the border of the Autumn Court. That's where Lucian was from, and Lucian was banished from the Autumn Court. That's why Lucian's at the Spring Court.
Scandalous.
So they're getting cold. They go to sleep.
Was he banished?
Essentially.
It was something.
He was kind of not like
I
exiled,
thought
but
he
he
chose
wasn't
to leave, and
I
then they
think
were
there's
like,
a
"Well,
little
if
bit
you
of
leave, you're
both.
not welcome back."
Because
Yeah.
all of his brothers didn't really like him to begin with. So, and they killed the love of his life. So I think it was a little bit of both, where it was like, hey, fuck you guys. And they were like, hey,
Fuck you.
then get out. Then get out.
You
So
don't like it? Leave.
Lucian's not really welcome
And
there.
Yeah.
Is that how Lucian lost his eye?
No, he lost it something else.
Not important. Not even important. So then they find a mountain to sleep under. They're both taking watches, whatever. They go to the mountain. It's a nice place to sleep for the night, whatever. They don't have magic. They're sitting
It's
there.
okay for the night. It's okay.
They're taking...
It'll do. Oh my god.
They're taking watches.
Oh my god.
At some point, they both fall asleep, and then they hear a grumbling voice, and it's like, "Finally found you!" And it's Lucian's brothers, and they're like, "Holy shit!" So then they get into like
Holy
shit! They get in a fight with Lucian's brothers. Feyre realizes she has like a drop of magic left, and because she doesn't have her magic, she can't talk to Rhys through the bond. So that's why he has not come to save her yet. Forgot to mention that. So she realizes she has a drop of magic. She again tries to communicate with him, obviously not getting it. And she goes, okay, uses the last of her magic to crumble like rocks in the mountain so they can't find him. And they just go on the run. At this point, her and Lucian are running. And they run all the way into the winter court. At this point, they are freezing. Yet again, they find another mountain to sleep under.
Yes, you're right,
And
yeah.
it's fine. It's fine. It'll do for the night. They're soaking wet. They're freezing. They're huddling together for body warmth.
Doesn't she make a fire? She made...
No, they're afraid to make a fire.
Right.
Because it might
she doesn't
signal.
have power, really, like her
But
powers.
also might signal
and
to
the
them.
smoke might signal.
Yeah.
So they're under
So
the mountain,
it's
they're
coming back.
freezing, they're huddling for warmth. And Lucian goes, can you tell me a little bit about Elaine? She gives him some Elaine lore. Whatever, not even important. The next morning they wake up and they're like, okay, we just have to like kind of cross this and then we'll get into, is it the summer court?
Yeah.
Not even important.
Not important. Not important.
So then,
Wait, no, it must be the summer court because we just went through spring, autumn, and winter.
yeah. So then she was also like a little scared to go there because she still
Yeah.
doesn't know where her and Tarquin stand after stealing his book.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Tarquin.
Well, that's in the summer court.
I just said they're going to the summer court.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
whatever. It does not even
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
Give a
Doesn't
fuck.
matter. Doesn't matter.
We're just trying to get through this to hit the main plot points.
I love that this is just like a modern retelling of Acowar at
So
this
then
point. It's not
it's
even
our
opinions.
retelling. They're running on this lake that's covered in snow. They're going on it, and then again they hear, "Hey, brother!" And it's Lucian's brothers again, and you're like,
Like,
holy
how'd they
shit.
get into the winter court?
And they all have fire powers from the autumn court, so they start like putting their hands on this ice lake and melting it in lines, going straight for Lucian and Feyre. And he's like, bob and weave, run in zigzag. And then Lucian's going zigzag, so then they can't get you. She starts to kind of feel her power come back. At this point, I think her brother Eris has gotten them.
Yeah, Brother Eris did get them.
Brother Eris has them in their clutches right now. They're tied up. I think her power comes back a little bit, and she's able to like untie herself. And then you hear like a tide change, and I'm imagining like Crazy Train playing, where it's like ah ha 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 ha, dana 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 dana. It's Azriel and I was gonna say Lucian and Cassian. They're coming in to save the day.
I imagine like Azriel and Cassian like land on this ice like and like kind of like everyone like jumps off of it
Going off the
They
rails
trampoline
on
them?
a crazy
basically,
train.
and then it's like
that's playing in the back while they're like just like
yeah.
run.
As they land, I imagine it's like a whoosh.
They're beating up all of Lucian's brothers within essentially like an inch of death.
Yeah.
And favorite, because she's their high lady, she goes, okay, stop. Keep them alive so this way they can go back to their lord and find out what happens when they mess with the high lady of the night court. And then I think she shows them like her thing. Whatever, not even important. So then
They winnow out.
Azriel and Cassian take him out. They go home. They find her sisters. Big happy reunion, whatever. They're talking. And Cassian's like, what the... Not Cassian. Lucian is like, what the fuck do you mean people are happy here? He hears like children laughing in the background. He's like, what
It's
the
a foreign
fuck?
concept to him because, you know, he was...
They were fed all these lies.
Well, he also... He
But
never
also
felt that he was...
Rhysand like told these lies.
Yes.
She's in the middle of talking.
It's okay. It's okay. She's excited. It's okay. She's excited. It's
I'm just not gonna speak
Oh
anymore.
my god, we have the giggles.
Hey, giggle fest.
Hey, whatever. It's not important.
Hey, whatever.
One of you go.
Not important. No. I lost it.
Rhysand was telling these lies so that nobody would want to come and know about Valeris.
yes.
I found it. Lucian never felt like he was really part of his family at the Autumn Court. He goes to Spring Court. Tamlin becomes his best friend, but they're so isolated. So he doesn't really know a world where he can just be free and socialize.
Oh my god, that's so beautiful. Like, Valeris, like, is truly a court of dreamers. Like, you know.
Because then I think he also makes a note of that. He's like, oh my god, like, you found your family. Like, this is a perfect example of found family. And I think he has, like, a moment of, like, oh my god, I could be a part of this with Elaine. Not realizing
My mate.
Elaine and Nesta are at this point at the House of Wind. They're not at the house. They're in the townhouse. As I mentioned, Elaine and Nesta are at the House of Wind, still adjusting to being Fae.
So it's just Lucian,
Still
Cassian,
upset.
Asriel, and
By the way,
Feyre.
I'd like to say, at this point, no sex has been had. I'm like,
Where
is
is
it?
it?
Why is this all war?
Well, if you read another 3 pages, either way, she didn't know he came in, and he made the comment. He was like, either way, and she turned around and she went, and like leapt into his eyes.
No, she fell to the floor. Like, she was
She
so...
fell into his
Hey,
arms.
I had a man like that waiting for me at home, I'd fall to the floor too.
Like, he did, like, 2 large steps.
Also,
and
by the way,
had
at
her
this
wrapped.
point, you don't find out until later afterwards, but Feyre and Lucian are dirty.
oh yeah,
They are
they're filthy.
covered in
Dirty.
dirt. They are gross and disgusting. She has fallen into his arms, and then Rice looks, because everyone's at the room to welcome her back, and he goes, everyone out of the house.
Get the fuck out.
He said, I have things to do.
They make Lucian leave in his dirty ass clothes.
Yeah, they're like, get the fuck out.
So they leave. They have he runs her a bath first.
Mm-hmm.
And he washes her clean herself. And he's
No,
like,
no. He uses his magic to get rid of
clean
the
her.
dirt, but then he's like, you still need to take a bath. And she's like, why? You just like glamored me to be clean. And he was like, because your skin is still dirty. Like,
You are disgusting.
it was
It's just
something,
not,
it was
like,
like a funny thing.
Yeah, he was,
visibly on you, but physically it's still there.
Yeah.
he's like, I would fuck you dirty,
But
but you are dirty.
you were dirty.
You're not dirty.
He's like, I'd
you're
fuck you dirty, but
dirty.
I'd love it if you were clean. And she
Yeah.
goes, oh my god, yay.
Oh my god, yay.
So she takes a bath.
That's our new bit, by
she
the
said
way.
she washes herself as of 5 minutes ago. We haven't done this for the other 30
It's our brand new bit. It's our brand new bit.
Oh my god, yay.
Oh my god, yay.
We started doing this 5 minutes ago.
Our new bit
We did it. We actually implemented it during the commercial break.
So
that you don't know we had.
Oh my
she
god,
said she
yay.
washes herself twice, making sure she like washes like her privates pretty well and like sexual.
That's what you do, no?
Whatever. They raw dog fuck.
Doesn't matter.
Hey, guess what? It's awesome. Oh my god, yay.
No,
I'm
they
reading
don't,
it and I'm going, oh my god, yay.
they don't just no.
You're like drooling.
They
You're
don't
like,
just have sex. They have
sex.
I mean, everywhere.
Kitchen,
Most notably,
bedroom, living room,
the-
bathroom,
The
tub.
most I think, the place that gets the most like
Love.
airtime is the wall.
Well, because
She
he wants.
loves
he
to
Because he
fuck
made it
against
a
the wall.
point beforehand. He was like, I never got to fuck you against the wall, and you're like, oh.
And
Oh,
she
they're
goes,
Oh, yes.
fucking.
She
Okay.
literally did that. She was like, and
and she goes, oh my god, yay.
Yay? Wait, 2 new bits that we're implementing. Anytime someone says anything like remotely positive,
Oh my god,
Yeah,
yay.
and then anytime someone like, and I used to do this, but I haven't done it in a while. Anytime someone does like anything near me, I'll touch them and go, "How dare you?"
My new bit that I haven't done before, but I'm going to start, is when someone asks me how I am, I'm going to go delicious. I'm going to start implementing the word delicious into my vocabulary.
I start
How are
saying
you?
solid again.
Delicious.
Solid.
Delicious.
How dare you? Anyway,
Not
Doesn't
important.
matter.
Okay.
doesn't matter. Not
So
important.
then they raw dog fuck. War
then they're like,
strategy.
let's-
wartime strategy happens. It's like literally like not important.
Like literally in book 2 where she's like, what's next? He's like, we could get married, we could get sworn in by, and she's like, I was talking about the war, but like good to have options.
this is what she was talking about.
They were like, we have to go do the war stuff now, and he's like, let's
He's like, we gotta go do war
So
stuff.
then-
let's go see your sisters. Let's go to the House of Wind.
Let's bank out what happens next really quick. Whatever. They realize they have to stop the King of Hybern. They realize that Feyre and her sisters are probably the only people that can do it because they were made by the cauldron.
You forgot to say, Lucian was sitting in the House of Wind, still dirty.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, sorry.
Because then I think they war strategized before even going to the House of Wind. So then they war strategize as a crew, and they realize that they have to get a meeting of all the High Lords because they need allies in this war that's brewing.
What the contraceptive brew?
The contraceptive brew war is brewing. So they war strategize. Then she goes, okay, let's go see my sisters. Elaine is a mess because she's can't go see her fiance because her fiance hates fays.
And she's a fae now.
And she's a fae. She hasn't taken off the ring. She just kind of stares out the window, doesn't talk, doesn't sleep.
She's a little depressy.
She's traumatized. Yeah.
Nesta is pissed. Just reading smut books.
She is pissed and
so
she's reading smut.
She's pissed reading smut, but she's more willing to talk to people.
Mm-hmm. Which is...
Cassie makes a note of saying that.
Oh,
he goes, she's pissed off, but she'll talk. Okay.
Not important.
Not important. Not for this book.
For this one.
Hey!
Just you wait.
So
then they go up there. At this point, it has to be hours. Lucian is sitting in the room that they've provided for him, just dirty.
Like, what? Nobody wanted... Like, Cassian or Azrael took him up there. They didn't want to be like, hey, bro.
At this point, Feyre offers him clothes
shower.
and
Here's
says,
some clothes.
you can go take a bath, whatever.
His story is such a sad one because he really doesn't belong anywhere and no one really treats him like
a person.
Well, then at the end of this book, he kind of finds a place between people.
We're not there yet.
But we're not there yet.
But we're
not there yet.
Not important right now.
Not important.
So whatever, they're at the house. The sisters are sad. Nesta's angry. They kind of have an inkling that they probably got powers from the cauldron, but they don't really know what at this point.
Yeah.
So by this point, they realize that Feyre's like, we have to go see the bone carver. Mm-hmm. We have to go talk to him, figure out what's happening with this war.
The bone carver.
Whatever. So Cassian takes her to go see the bone carver.
Wait, I love that Cassian took her because he like held her hand and he's like, come on, high lady, let's go.
I love Cassian.
Okay, so
Not
rapid fire. They go
Okay.
to the bone carver. She realizes that the little boy that the bone carver showed her in book 2 was actually her son because she sees her dad's smile. And she's like, what the fuck? Why does it look like Rice was my dad's smile? And then it hits her. It's my baby.
My baby.
It's Mr. Baby.
It's Mr. Baby. So then they're like, how can we defeat this war? Like, what do we have to do? And he doesn't really give them any inkling. He's just like, your sisters are kind of the key to this. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, oh my God, your sister, Nesta? Kiss of death. Like, Lady Death. They just keep going on and on about how scary she is. And her and Cassian are like, what the fuck? Like, I know she pointed scary to the king. And I know she's... And they're like, I know she's a bitch, but like, what the fuck do you mean she stole from the cauldron? He's like, babe, she stole from the cauldron. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
They're also saying like, okay, we know why we're scared of her, but why the fuck are you scared of her?
You are the bone carver.
So then when Feyre's down there with him, she's like, okay, well, like, you're probably one of the more powerful beings besides Amryn. Like, can you help us fight? And he goes, no. And she goes, please. And he goes, then bring me the mirror, the Ouroboros.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
which is like a crazy
she's
mirror.
like, you just want a mirror? And he's like, yeah. And she goes, okay, fine, I'll go get the fucking mirror for you. Whatever.
But then he notes that no one has successfully gotten it because anytime someone looks into it, they go crazy.
No, she doesn't know that until she goes to the Court of Nightmares and asks
Oh,
Moore's dad and is like, hey, can I have this mirror? And he goes, yeah, if you can look into it.
Yeah.
So whatever, they go back, they tell everyone what they learned. More war strategy happens.
Mm-hmm. Tons of war.
Tons of war.
A little bit of sucking and fucking.
So then at this point, they have to go to the Court of Nightmares again.
She told Rhysand about the boy.
Oh, yeah, and he
This
goes,
is such a sweet part.
He goes, can you show me? So then more war strategy, more planning to get all the lords together. They have to go to the Court of Nightmares to get Moore's dad on their side because they need his armies as well. That's when she asks him about the mirror.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, you can get it if you can look into it. Anyone that's looked into it has gone crazy. Like, have fun with that. It'll be my wedding present to you both.
Yeah.
Fuck you, essentially.
And guess who fucking shows up?
Eris.
Eris. You're like, they're la-da-da-da-da, and in walks Eris. I kind of, like, in my head, I pictured Eris like a cowboy. Like, you know, and it's like the
saloon doors swing open.
And it's like...
And everyone's like, oh, not this guy.
His cock literally, like...
He's formed an alliance with Moore's dad.
On the table.
He's formed an alliance with Moore's dad at this point, and they're both sitting at the table. And they look at Rhysand and they go, you want our alliance? Eris is like, I'm going to eventually I'm going to be the lord in my dad's place. He goes, I'll convince my dad to side with you. And then Moore's dad, I can't think of his name, whatever his name is.
Erin?
Not important. So then he turns to them. Sure.
It is.
Sure. So then, yay. So then
Oh my God, yay.
looks at all of them at the table and he goes, you want my allegiance? He goes, let me come to Valeris.
Yeah.
And Mor
Because
at this
I want
point
in.
is freaking out because she hates her dad. He's been such an awful human being to her. And she likes Valeris because it's her safe space because her dad's essentially not allowed there. Mm-hmm. And Rhys knows this is the only chance of winning, so he agrees. Mor's pissed off. Everyone kind of is pissed off at Rhys. Feyre sees both sides because that's her mate. That's her man, and she's
Because
going
at
to
the end of
stand
the
by
day,
him.
that's her man, and she's going to stand
And she's
beside
gonna
him.
stand. But Mor's like her only girlfriend, so she does see where she's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Then they go back. Everyone's pissed. They all work it out. Whatever. More war strategy goes on.
Mm-hmm.
It is the meeting. It's meeting the Lord's Day.
Yeah.
Big day for meeting lords.
So they all get together at, is it Hellion's place?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or is it the other guy's
No,
place?
it's Hellion.
No, it's Hellion.
They're in the day court.
At this point, it's Hellion, the one dude,
The winter court.
the winter court, and Rhys. They're all there. Apparently, they're all old friends. You get a little bit of lore. They're all hanging out. And Feyre's looking at Hellion and then is talking to Rhys at their bond. And she goes, oh my fucking God, that's Lucian's dad.
That's literally
He
Lucian's
said,
dad.
wait.
And Rhys goes, what the fuck do you mean that's Lucian's dad? And she goes, look at that man. That's Lucian's father. And he goes, oh my God, wait. Oh my God, yay.
Oh my God, yay.
Oh my God, there were rumors?
He's like, that's Lucian's dad.
She just started a rumor.
I don't know if at that point
She
you
was
found
spreading the
out,
truth.
but Lucian's mom was hooking up with him around the time Lucian was born. And that's because she goes, oh my God, Lucian has a healing power. And he goes, oh my God, you're right. That's where Lucian gets his healing power from. Everyone's like, I guess Lucian just got an extra power. It's because it's Hellion's power.
Well, they kind of figured that, like, also there was a deeper reason as to why his brothers never really accepted him, why his father hated him. Even if they don't know, like, they're... You, like, know deep down that he's different. Not important.
They're having the meeting. At this
Everyone
point,
shows up.
Everyone has showed up except for Tamlin.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they were like,
they
Tamlin
didn't really
is not
expect Tamlin
coming.
to come. They were like, that guy's not coming, whatever. He's been conspiring with the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So then they start having the meeting. They're like, we need alliances, war strategy, out the wazoo, whatever. A rumbling occurs.
Yeah. And Feyre kind of gets that little, like, tickle in the back of her throat. And she's like, Tamlin's here.
And guess who fucking showed up? What was that TikTok I sent you? Where was that guy eating chocolate-covered pretzels and he goes, Tamlin showed up again.
Oh, yeah.
And
This
guess
is
what?
one of my favorite
He's
parts.
Pissed off, obviously. And guess what? Tamlin had the Goonies. Tamlin was doing the right thing the whole time, weirdly enough. How bad of a person do you have to be doing the right thing that not one person gave you the benefit of the doubt?
Not one person gave him the benefit of the doubt. But that also shows a lot about your character. It's like the boy who cried wolf, right?
Yeah.
It's like you keep doing shitty
Oh my
things.
God, Eddie is a half wolf.
So then he shows up and he's like, hey, Feyre, fuck you. You ruined my plans. I was playing double agent the whole time and you were playing double agent. We both have double agented each other and now no one trusts me. I don't have a court anymore and I don't have any friends. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
So then they're all sitting at the table and they're like,
Then
okay.
he's, like, brooding.
They're like, okay, sorry about that, whatever. Like, but we need alliances. There's a war. War strategy happens. And then Tamlin finally gets so pissed off at Rhys. He goes, do you even know the noises she makes before she comes? Have you even noticed the noises she makes before she comes?
That fight is a lot more in
Yeah.
detail too, and that's the most like TikToks I've seen where like you are reading that scene and your mouth is
Drops. I literally
Because-
read that and I went,
I can't even imagine like I don't have a current boyfriend right now, but like dating someone and having an ex-boyfriend go up to him and be like, and do you even know the noises she makes when you like touch her here? I would. Woo!
And Rhys
That's crazy.
stays calm, cool, and collected. Azriel jumps over the table and practically chokes out Tamlin.
Because guess what?
that's
If-
a Thai lady.
No, but also, okay, see this, like, if this happened to one of you guys, right, and you had your boyfriend next to you, and your ex-boyfriend came over and said that, sure, you would have to be calm and collected. That's not my man, and that's not my ex-man.
Oh my
I'm
God.
going in for the kill. That
was
motherfucker's
Azriel.
not going to have a face.
He was a
No.
girl's girl. He was a girl's girl.
He's a
He's
girl's
punching
girl.
him out,
He was
and
literally a
Feyre,
girl's
because
girl.
she's high lady, she goes, Azriel, come back. It's okay. And then he stands he stands like behind Feyre, and he goes, watch how you talk about my high lady next time.
But
and
at
then
that
like,
point,
sits
Tamlin
back
didn't
down
know.
next to her.
Panties
I
dropped.
don't think Tamlin knew that she was high lady at
And
that
Tamlin
point.
goes, what?
What?
And my favorite is the winter court's wife was like, what is this high lady
Yeah,
shit?
she goes, we can do that. And he was like,
One of the other wives of the
Winter court.
the High
Lords.
Lord
Yeah.
was like, wait, we can be high ladies, and the husband was like, no.
And then he was like, Rhysand, you're making us look like little shits.
You're making us all look bad. And
he was like, hey,
that's my high lady.
Love is love.
I love him. Okay.
Love is love.
Whatever.
Doesn't even matter.
Doesn't matter.
Does not even matter.
We got 9 more minutes.
Does Tamlin storm out?
I think so. He always fucking storms
I think
out.
he storms out and they're like, okay, well, we're not getting his allegiance. More war strategy takes place. Everyone kind of agrees to pledge their troops, whatever. But they're like, we still have more talking to do. Let's stay the night.
Yeah.
So they all decide to stay the night. And Nesta's there because she's now part of the team. Mm-hmm. Because she's working with Amryn on magic, trying to figure out
with Elaine?
how to hack the cauldron. The 2 women that worked for him.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't think of their names.
In my head, they were the invisible twins.
But they were her friends. And you know what? Elaine needed that. Mm-hmm. So, whatever. Also, Amryn stayed back to, like, protect Valeris if anything happened. Mm-hmm. Besides the point, Nesta's now like, something's wrong. Mm-hmm. Asriel and Cassian scope out the court, and they're like, everything's fine. Like, there's not a hair out of place here. I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, no, I just, like, feel it in my gut. Something's wrong. Something's going to happen. Something bad's happening. We have to get out of here. And they're like, we literally searched this place top to bottom. Asriel's like, my shadows have been on this. Like, there's nothing wrong. They go to sleep, whatever. They wake up in the morning and eat that sausage. They wake up in the morning.
You forgot Morin, Hellion, Fogged.
Oh, yeah, Morin, Hellion. For some reason, when they were talking war strategy, after the big war strategy meeting, they were doing war strategy inner circle. Mm-hmm. Cassian was rubbing Mor's feet.
Oh, my God, yes. That was so fucking weird.
And Asriel was kind of standing and he was like, fuck, that's my girl.
That's my girl.
At that point, do you find out,
no,
like, his little bit of history with Mor?
With Asriel?
Yeah, like, she tells Feyre.
I think, you know, like, a little bit. Like, he's always, like, loved her, but he doesn't think he's good enough. And she, you know, fucks Cassian.
She keeps also sleeping with people so he doesn't get his hopes up.
Yeah.
But I think she find that out in a court of
She would rather sleep with other people and have him be like, oh, guess she's not into me.
Than disappoint him.
Than just, like, straight up go to him and be like, I'm just not.
So he's just
into
been pining after her for 500 years. Whatever. It does not even matter. We're not even, like, halfway through this book.
We better get halfway through the book.
So, okay. Rapid fire.
Sex in the war camp.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Crazy
They wake
sex.
up the next morning, bomb goes off. They go, oh my God, we have to get our troops out there. It's at the summer court.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tarquin is taking back the blood rubies. He goes, you guys are my friends now. Mm-hmm. Like, help us out.
Yeah.
They bring their soldiers over there. You know, war. They're fighting.
War.
It's happening.
War.
Whatever.
War.
Afterwards, they kind of,
in the
they win the battle. They haven't won the war yet. So,
they're
yay!
Oh,
yay!
Oh my God, yay! They won the battle.
So me when I win the battle.
They're celebrating.
They have
Feyre
the wine.
and Rhys.
If Tamlin was there, he would have played a mean fiddle.
Mm-hmm. Feyre and Rhys are in the tent, dirty. Like, there has to be people dying outside the tent. They are raw dog fucking.
Okay, but I'm gonna interject and say this one thing. If I was in the middle of war with my husband and I didn't know, if I didn't know we were gonna survive it, hell yeah!
Fuck it every day.
I'd be like, we are having sex right now because it might be the last time I have sex. You are having sex with me.
She also makes a note to say, like, that Rhys put a wind tunnel around them so no one could probably hear them fucking. Whatever.
Probably drowns out the sounds of other people
didn't
dying.
She touch his dick, and then he was like,
yeah. Actually, I don't have clothes on.
And so then her hand was once on his
cradling his cock and balls.
It's like cloth linen trousers.
Like a loincloth?
No, he was in his fighting leathers.
Yes, that is
Anyway.
so true.
His Hilarion leathers.
And then she was just fisting his cock.
She's cuddling his cock and balls. Okay.
Okay.
Whatever. It's not
Anyway,
important.
doesn't
They
matter.
have raw dog sex that night. Whatever. The next morning, they all wake up. I don't know if it's that night or like 2 days. At most, it's 2 days.
No. It was right after I thought they had like just had sex and shit started happening.
So then they find out that the king's people are actually now going to, was it the day court?
Yeah.
They're now at the border of the day court. They're charging in and they say, okay, we've gotten wind of this. We have a spy on the inside. We have to go. Mm-hmm. So then they go, okay, let's get into it. They gather everyone. I think at this point they're bringing Nesta and Elaine to the next
they
battle.
are. At this point, everyone is kind of together.
They're bringing everyone to the next battle. Then they go to this next battle, and at this point, like, none of the girls partake in it. They're standing on, like, a mountaintop watching all the boys fight.
And they're Hilarion leathers.
And Mor's there babysitting them, essentially. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay. they're watching it. They're like going, oh my
my
God,
God,
oh no.
yay.
No, they're going, oh my God, oh no. We're kind of losing.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
nay.
Oh my God, nay. We're losing the battle. And Feyre gets this idea to go get the Weaver's help. So she goes to Moore and she goes, you have to get out there. Like, babe, you gotta get out there.
Like Elaine and Nesta, they're fine.
This might have happened at the first battle. It happened at some point in the battle. She went, Elena and Nesta are fine. Like, babe, you get out there. Like, you go.
Yeah.
I'll be fine. I'll stay right here. Don't
Yeah.
even worry about me. I'm gonna stay right here.
Yes. Well,
So
that's
then-
what led to the raw dog fucking.
Okay, we have to go fast. That is what led to the raw dog fucking. Okay, so this actually happened the day before. But Moore goes out. She's fighting, and Feyre goes, I'm gonna go get the Weaver. She goes to the Weaver's cottage. No, she captures the cereal. Oh my God, we forgot about the cereal. She decides she has to capture the cereal to figure out what's happening. So she captures the cereal. The cereal tells her information. She's like, hey, like, by the way, why did you tell me to stay with Tamlin, like the High Lord? He's like, I didn't specify which High Lord, babe. And she's
I
like,
told you a High Lord.
and she's like, oh my God, yay, Rhysand.
And then whatever, they're chatting.
They're chatting.
Catching up. They're
The cereal
besties.
is now shot. He has been shot with an arrow.
Oh
And
my
she
God,
goes,
that was so
she's like, oh my God, oh no. And finds out that
Nay.
was Ianthe. Ianthe has shot the cereal. We have to go fast.
But also,
Because
wait,
the cereal was wearing a special cloak that she made him that had a tracker. Because
But also,
she knew
with
that
the cereal is a very unlikable character to most people except for Feyre.
I loved him.
And she says to the cereal, like, why did you help me? And what did he say? He
You were
said,
one of the
like,
only people that
he's-
showed me kindness.
He said,
Yeah.
like, because you were nice to me, and then he died.
And then he
He
dies.
died in her arms.
So then she's now fighting with
Ianthe and her goons.
and her goons. And then the Weaver's cottage is right there. So Feyre runs to the Weaver's cottage, closes herself in the door. Ianthe is not aware that this is the Weaver's cottage. Feyre went there in book 2. Knows how evil this woman is, knows that she just likes to eat people. So she's talking to the Weaver or whatever, and the Weaver's like, I hear you, like, what did you bring for me? And Feyre goes, dinner, and then opens the door, and Ianthe storms in, and Feyre switches out, so she goes in, shuts the door, and just hears Ianthe screaming. She's like, okay, yay.
And then she winnows back to the camp.
No, Hellion has to come and get her. Someone comes and gets her. Someone finds her because she's weak or something.
Right.
I think they sprinkled her with more of that magic dust.
Yes.
So someone gets her. She goes back to the camp. Okay.
And then Rhysand was really mad, and Moore was really mad.
And then her and Rhysand make up. That's when they raw dog fuck. Okay. Then after they raw dog fuck, they realize that the war has now moving to a different location. So they're going to location number 2. At this
War
point.
is moving.
The war is moving.
They're up in bed.
That's where we were.
Whatever. And then
So at this
Feyre
point,
gets a bad dream. She has a bad dream.
so now they go to the second location. They're like, Nesta, you have to find the cauldron. Like, this is life or death.
yes.
She like rattles some sort of dice and throws them on a map, and it points to wherever it is because she has the connection. And as she holds the dice in her hand, she's seeing the cauldron, and she's like, oh my God, the cauldron sees me. Like, the cauldron's coming after me.
Mm-hmm.
And Feyre gets like the bad feeling too.
Yeah.
They figure out where the cauldron is and where they have to set up their next camp for their secondary location. And then they realize Elaine is missing by this point. And they're like, oh my God, the cauldron stole Elaine.
Yeah, Nesta's like
Oh my God.
freaking the fuck out. She's like,
Nesta's freaking out.
She's like, the one thing I've tried to do my whole life is protect her, and I
He literally could not protect
could
Elaine.
not do that.
I literally brought the danger to her.
Yeah.
So the cauldron has stolen Elaine out of her bed. Azriel and what's her
Feyre.
name? Feyre have to go and save her. They go now into the king's camp. They're with the Goonies themselves. Feyre has disguised herself as Ianthe because no one there is aware she's dead yet. So she goes in, she sees Jurian, and Jurian's like, this isn't you. And she's like, what the fuck do you mean this isn't me? Jurian's also a double agent, by the way.
Yeah.
Actually a good guy.
He's also out of his form of an eye ring.
Yes.
Now he's a person.
Never mentioned that. He was also at Tamlin's
No, we
house with the
mentioned that
Goonies.
in last episode.
Okay. Whatever, not even important. So then they go to the camp. They get Elaine. Jurian's like, you know, she's a little bit more handsy than that. Feyre's plays her part, whatever. He's like,
Ianthe.
whatever, I don't give a shit. So then they get to the tent where they're holding Elaine, and he's like, I can give you 5 minutes. Like, get her and get out. So then Feyre and Azriel, like, is bound to her by a shadow. So then he, like, comes out of the shadows. They get Elaine, and Feyre's like, hold on, there's a woman over a spigot. Like, I have to save her. And Azriel's like, what? And
If you must.
She's like, I literally, like, I have to save her. And he goes, okay, like,
Okay.
go. But, like, if it comes down to you or the woman on the spigot, like, I'm saving you. And she's like, okay, awesome.
Okay,
Yay.
yay.
So she goes and gets the woman on the spigot. And at this point, they're running. And everyone has realized that now they've taken Elaine. So the Goonies are running up on him. Azriel is like, you're going to have to fly out of here. By the way, Azriel was teaching her how to fly because she can shapeshift like Tamlin.
But she
In
was
Illyrian
not.
form.
She
was not a good
good
flyer. So he's like, you have to fly out of here. Like,
Because
I
also
can't.
Azriel was hurt.
He did get stabbed in the wing.
Yes, so he
He's
was
like,
hurt.
I can only carry Elaine.
Yeah.
And you if needed, but like I can't carry this spigot woman. And she's like, oh my god, yay, I can. So then they're running. They have dogs chasing after them. The dogs are literally about to get them. You know who comes in their dog form to save the day?
Tamlin.
Tamlin gets the dogs, shoos
Again,
them off the
he's
cliff.
doing the right thing.
But
You
no one
never
gives the guy the benefit of the doubt. He's
But
also
also,
double agent again.
No one can really appreciate it because he's done so many bad things that when he comes to save someone, their first thought is like, oh,
him again.
fuck.
So then Tamlin makes it so they can get away. They now return to the camp, and they're like, okay, it's war at this point. It's no more war strategy. This is the last 100 pages of Sarah J. Maas' book. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
We are now in the last 100 pages. Okay.
We are in the thick of it.
We wake up bright and early. It is the war. It is war day, ladies. Ladies, it is war day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered war.
I'm just trying to go as fast as I can. They now all have plans for what they have to
Yeah.
do. Okay, these people go here. You go here. Amren, Feyre,
When
Nesta,
did Moore tell
Elaine.
Feyre that she was a lesbian?
Someone's gay.
Moore is bisexual. I don't know when that
But
happened.
she more prefers women.
Yeah.
No, she told Feyre that the night when Feyre went to her and apologized and was like, I'm sorry for tricking you, but like I didn't think you'd let me go. And Moore was like, no, I'd let you go. You're my high lady. If you just like, I wish you would have told me.
Yeah.
No, so more, I think, like, sexually is bisexual, but in terms of romantic love, she has only fallen in love with a woman. I think that was, like, she has said that she has had sex with both genders, has enjoyed it, but she only
Prefers
really...
women.
She prefers women, but she also only loves women.
And she's only sleeping with men
Just
to spite Azriel, essentially.
Not spite, just so that
he'll
he
get the
doesn't
message.
They'll
that-
get the message. Anyway,
Just talk.
No,
Oh my
doesn't
God.
matter.
does not matter.
It matters to me. Talk.
Side note, no one is aware that
She's
she's
gay.
bisexual.
No one.
Only Feyre is at this point. By the way, does not come up in any of the books. More
No.
kind of disappears in the last 2 books. Maybe book 5
Anyway,
or 6.
anyway,
whatever.
doesn't matter.
Does not even matter.
Doesn't matter.
At this point, it's war. They're going, okay, you 4 have been made. You're going to go get the cauldron. The rest of us, it's go time. Like, it is war,
We
ladies.
are fighting.
We are fighting. The war starts. Whatever. They're fighting. It's getting bloody. The bone carver. Oh, by the way, Feyre got the mirror.
Oh, she got it. And she looked into it and she saw herself, but it was like everything that
But it didn't scare her.
it didn't scare her. It was everything that like the good and the bad. And when she gave it to
The bone carver.
Yes, the bone carver was like, and I knew you'd be the right woman for the job.
Yeah.
So the bone carver's there.
The
Ouroboros
Weaver.
is there. No, you're not aware of the Weaver yet.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Ouroboros is there because at some point Hybern attacked the library. And there's like...
I thought that was the mirror's name.
No, Braxius. Braxius, that's his name. They're in the library, and Feyre hears
It's like
a voice.
a floating
and
mirror
it's like-
fighting in battle.
It's like, Braxius was like, do you need help? And she's like, can you help me? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, okay,
Hell yeah.
then help me. And he goes,
Feyre literally befriended every monster
also,
that's
that was
ever
the
lived.
monster that scared the shit out of Cassian, that he wouldn't tell Rice what it looked like. So I keep seeing TikToks of like Cassian on the battlefield where he sees Braxton walking and he goes,
pisses himself.
He pisses
he pisses himself. He's so scared. Like
He
that's
throws up.
he throws up. He on the sidelines. It probably was written in the book. Cassian probably threw up when he saw him.
Oh, for sure.
So the bone carver's there. This thing from the library in Valeris is there. They're starting to fight, and then suddenly this third thing comes out of nowhere. It's the Weaver, and Feyre turns to Rice and she goes, "What the fuck?" And he goes, "I made a deal with her." Like
These people are making deals.
Left and right.
so they have like 3, huge entities. Like they're like, "Okay,
We've got
we've
this.
got
go
this.
time.
We
on
are winning
lock."
the war.
Mhm.
And also, you find out the bone carver and the weaver are brother and sister.
Whatever. War is happening. Our side is kind of losing a little bit, ladies. Can't
Yeah.
even lie. Like we are
flopping.
struggling.
we're flopping.
Hybern, he brings out the cauldron.
He charges up the cauldron again, and Nesta can feel it, and she can feel it and see that Cassian is in the line of fire.
No, not yet. Because didn't he hit the bone carver and the weaver first?
I think this might have all been at once.
It was all at the same time.
Oh, with the one blow. At the
Gotcha.
cauldron. So then they're like, "Oh my god, things are like looking kind of bleak at this point." But then with this blow of the cauldron, things get really bleak.
Yeah.
The bone carver and the Weaver,
Yes.
Yes.
not the Weaver yet. He snaps the Weaver's neck.
Oh, you're right.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
right. It's the bone
It's
carver.
the
and
bone
yeah.
carver, and then Braxius
Yeah.
ends up escaping.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
they talk about that in the rest of the books.
Yeah.
Cassian's probably pissing his pants.
Yeah.
But
So the bone carver,
bone
dead.
carver's gone,
Dead.
whatever.
Gone.
But Nesta feels it, and she goes, "Cassian! Cassian, and is just screaming his name, and she knows that if she calls, he'll come.
Just really quick. Nesta is obviously a bitch to everyone. You know throughout this book that Cassian is very interested in her.
She's taken a liking to him.
He's like trying to get her attention. It's very clear that he really likes her.
There's a mutual flirt.
There's a mutual flirting.
And she's not any nicer to him. But
I think she's more willing to like entertain him.
Yeah, where she's like still a little bit of a bitch to him, but he's like, I like that you're a little bitch, and I'll be a bitch back to you. And I think she likes and appreciates that.
He's kind of been dancing around each other a little bit.
They're doing a dance.
They're doing a dance. And they're both aware at this point that there's a crush. There's a feeling there. There's something there. They're both aware of it. Neither of them are saying it by this point. Oh my god, and the two of them will not say it for a while. But
okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Doesn't matter right now.
Does not matter. Anyway, she screams, Cassian, because she knows if she yells, he'll come. And he comes and he's like, what's wrong? And as he's like, being like, what's wrong? What happened? He sees like this light of the cauldron that takes out the bone carver, takes out half of his legion. And he's like, holy shit. And she's like,
woof, I didn't lose you. And then he's like, half of my soldiers, like, so I was in
sad.
Charge. Yeah. He's feeling like, guilty.
He's feeling guilty. And at this point, like, something happens with her and Elaine where Amren's like, they can't come. It has to be me and you.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. They're going up to the cauldron. Everyone's still fighting the war. Things are bleak at this point.
No.
We are already at an hour and 8.
They get to the top. The Weavers, like, guiding their way to the top.
Yes. Yeah.
They get there. Amren and Feyre have her hands on the cauldron. And at that point, Amren goes, okay, pushes Feyre in.
Yeah.
And at this point, the book gets weird because it's Feyre's point of view from inside the cauldron, and you're not really sure what's happening. But anyway,
Rhysand's in his beast form.
He goes beast mode. And then on the horizon, you see a bunch of ships rolling in, and they're like, holy shit, finally backup. We need backup so bad. They see the Elaine, the Feyre, and riding on the helm is the Nesta, and their dad's on it. And they're like, oh my god, yay.
They're also like, where the fuck did you come from?
So then he's riding in whatever.
And then Lucian's on the Elaine.
Lucian's on, of course Lucian's on the Elaine.
Of course he's on the Elaine.
So then they get there, and someone talks to the dad, and they're like, why the fuck did you name these ships that? And he's like, these are my daughters. I named these ships after them. I heard there was going to be a war. Yeah. And I wanted to help to make a better world for my girls. He's like, I wasn't a good dad, but I'm trying better now. I'm trying more now. And they're like, okay. Yay. Thank you.
Lucian found the queen. We also forgot to mention, Lucian left
Lucian
to go
was
and
on
find
a side
this queen.
quest this whole book.
He was on a side quest that we didn't get any POV on.
He had to go find his queen, and he found her. And then they're coming in on the boats. At this point, those two missing people, Dragon and Miriam, they're coming in with their legions. They're like, holy shit. Like,
we thought you were dead.
We thought you were dead. And they're like, no, we put a glamour to make it look like that. And they're like, well,
you couldn't have told us.
Write a letter next time or something. And they're like, sorry. They're like, is that why you didn't visit for 500 years? Whatever, getting lost in the details. Whatever,
Feyre is in the cauldron.
We are on the ups at this point, people. We are on the ups. Oh my god, yay.
We're like, oh my god, we are gonna win.
At this point, Feyre's watching all of this from the cauldron. So then...
Bone Weavers, Hybern snaps her neck.
The King of Hybern comes out, and the Weaver's like getting all scary in his face, and he just snaps her neck.
He literally is like, okay.
This is one of the most powerful entities, and that King of Hybern just breaks her neck.
Yeah. And then for some reason,
feeds her to the wolves.
Cassian, Nesta, Elaine, and their dad all followed up the Weaver, so they're all there for whatever reason, probably explained it at some point. Feyre's watching from inside the cauldron. Can't express that enough. She is not there. And at this point, she thinks Amren betrayed her, and I didn't really think that because I didn't read it like that, but I was like, okay, weird.
Yeah.
So whatever.
I know that Amren's a wise being. She's old as hell. I knew there was something wrong.
I was just like, what's going on?
I was like, this is out of character for
I
her.
was
There
like,
has
this
to
is
be a
reading
deeper reason
confusing.
behind it.
Yeah.
So then Feyre's in the cauldron. She's watching this happen, and she sees her dad come up to the king, and the king's holding like the dad by probably
a knife by his throat.
And they're like, no, don't kill him. And then he turns to Nesta and he goes, I've loved you since the moment I held you in my arms. Like the first moment I saw you, I've loved you. Like, I'm sorry, I couldn't have been a better dad.
Because Nesta and her dad were very,
they had a complicated relationship.
Yes.
You find out more in the last book. Not important right now. And then she goes, don't kill him, please, no. And he goes, too bad. Snaps the dad's neck. And Feyre in the cauldron is going, what the fuck? And at that point, that lights a fire under Nesta. And she's like, ah! And like,
She's clawing at him. She's
She
basically
claws at
doing
him.
what she did to the
she
cauldron.
like throws him back at some point, to which I think he throws a power at her and it hits Cassian or something.
Yeah.
Because Cassian is down for the count at one point.
Yeah.
And the king comes back up. He throws whatever at Cassian, and she's now covering Cassian with her body.
Yeah, and she's
and
like,
Feyre's
no.
watching this, and Feyre's like, it's like she wanted to die with him. Like, she didn't want to live without him. If they were going to go, they were going to go together. So as the king's like, Nesta, whatever, pushed him away, whatever, he's like getting up again. She's covering Cassian, and Cassian looks at her, and he goes, I'm sorry we didn't have time in this life, but like, I'll find you in the next.
I just can't.
And then
I can't even explain to you how hard I cried during that scene, because there are two people who,
if they had just spoken earlier in the book.
it's like their entire, and this gets into the 5th book, but like it bleeds into this, but like they are two people who are so, it's not even just infatuated, but they are so genuinely interested in each other and care for each other, and they are so fucking bad at communicating, and they choose to self-sabotage, and it's this moment where they're looking at each other and they're like, this might be the last time I ever look at you, and he is just looking at her and he's like, I did not do what I should have done in this life, and he literally said, I'm going to find you in the next lifetime,
And we'll have that time, we'll have that together.
And it's her having this moment of regret where she was like, did I have to pretend like all this time I didn't care about you? Like, what the fuck was I scared about? I was crying so hard during that scene.
Then they kiss, and that like lights a fire under Nesta's ass, essentially. Her power is coming in full throttle. She is now like with the king, like
she has her hand over his face.
She's like throwing the powers at him.
She's got him in the Iron Claw.
Yeah, she's got him in the Iron Claw. I think at this point,
got him in the Iron Claw.
Did Feyre beg to take the cauldron to take her life for her dad's or for her sisters?
She begged the
at one point
cauldron
she was
to
like,
take her
"Don't
life
kill them,
for her dad, and it
take
didn't
me
listen.
Instead, take me instead, take me instead. The cauldron like was not listening. She was just essentially in a dark pit watching everything happen.
Yeah.
She's like, please just take me instead.
Yeah.
Whatever. So
Nesta
has shot the king with a force of power so strong that he can't barely stand.
Yeah.
She's like grabbed him, and Elaine has now beheaded him.
Yes.
Elaine stabs him in the neck with Azriel's dagger.
Yeah.
With Azriel's dagger, she stabs him in the neck. And Nesta is now just standing there holding her head, and Feyre's in the cauldron going, oh my god, it's almost like her prophecy came to life. She like pointed her finger. She now gets to hold her hand on his neck. And Cassian's sitting there like, what the
Yeah. Cassie's like, damn. Kind of want to fuck
Who
her.
are these Archeon sisters?
Yeah.
So then,
dude, in that moment, it was like she became a warrior. Cassian's a warrior, and
You learn more about it.
So then, at that point, I think Amren dumps Feyre out of the cauldron.
Yeah.
Like, what happens next?
Amren is like a tens of thousands year old being, and she's basically trapped herself in a mortal like vessel of a body, and she knows that if she unleashes her true power, she can never go back into the vessel. So she sacrifices herself, and she says like, I didn't know what love was until I met you guys, and thank you for allowing me to experience that.
Like, I thought this was a punishment. This was actually a gift.
Sacrifices herself.
Wait, before that, her lover comes out and he's like, please
He's like,
don't.
no,
And she
we're
goes,
never gonna be able to have sex again.
She goes, no, like, this was my final, like, this was the one thing I never got to experience was love, and I finally got it with you.
Kisses him
I'm ready
and
to
then
go.
Dives into the cauldron.
Dives in the cauldron. She comes out beast mode, and she's just
essentially wipes out an entire
taking
army.
Everything out, whatever. When she comes out beast mode, the cauldron essentially explodes.
Yeah.
The cauldron is now in pieces.
And then they realize that it's becoming
wait.
a black.
Not yet.
Sorry.
She's taken everything out.
Yeah.
They all reconvene, and they're like, holy
"We
shit,
won."
she sacrificed herself. Like, we won. Big ups to us. Oh my god, yay. We won. So then they're all there, and they're like, oh my god, like, but then they feel the ground shaking, and everyone's like, what the fuck is that? Like, what do you mean the ground shaking?
What do you mean the ground shaking?
What do you mean the ground shaking? And then they realize that in all the books and stories they read about the cauldron is what like keeps that world together. And if the cauldron's not there, the world will be like sucked into itself or something like that.
Yeah. So essentially, there's a black hole.
There's a black hole forming. So then Feyre's like, well, I was the reason that this was able to start. Maybe I can be the reason that this ends. So Feyre like holds all the pieces together. She's holding the cauldron, like sucking her power into it. And then Rhysand's like, she's not powerful enough for this. Let me help her out. He's standing behind her. He's also feeding some power into it.
And she's like, no, you can't. You're not strong enough. And he's like,
goes,
I am.
strong enough. And he goes, I love you. And she's like, love you too. And then again, he says like one final like, I love you. And then, like, the cauldron comes back together, flash of light, whatever. Everyone falls over, and she's like, oh, my God. And then, like, looks at her hand, and she's like, why can I not feel the bond? And turns around and sees that Rhysand is now no longer breathing. And she's like, Rhys! She's cradling him in her arms. She's
sobbing.
So distraught. She's sobbing.
Obviously, surprised she didn't throw up.
She should have thrown up on him.
If there was ever a time to throw up, it's then.
Her mate has just passed away. She's like, no, bring him back. Someone bring him back.
Do it. Bring him back.
So then at that point, she's like, if the drops of power can bring me back, it can bring him back. And everyone's like, I don't know. And she's like, can you all just try? Please just try.
He would do it for you. Just do it. You saw him.
So then everyone's like, well, the reason we did win this war was because of his strategy. So, like, let's give him a drop of power. Comes down to Tamlin. Tamlin's the last one. He, like, goes to give the drop of power, and he says, Feyre, I just want you to be happy. And then gives the drop of power, which is, like, the first time he's ever wanted that for her.
Also done something selfless.
Selfless. He had a bit of a redemption arc.
Not much.
Not much, but I do kind of feel bad for him in the last 2 books. Like,
yeah,
not a lot, but, like,
kind of do.
Whatever. We'll get into it.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter right now. We'll get into it. He goes, I just want you to be happy. Gives her the drop of power. He's like, and she's like, oh my God, my mate. He's back to life. So then they're, like, kissing, whatever. And he goes, can someone get Amryn out of the cauldron? And everyone's like, what the fuck, Amryn? And she's like, why? I'm wet.
Isn't she naked?
No, I think
also,
she's, like,
I don't know
wet
if we
in her
mentioned this,
clothes.
but Amryn's supposed to be really short. Like,
like the size of a child.
yeah.
So she's just, like, a short, tiny little
Which
petite
also,
girl.
she has a lover. How tall is he?
I pictured him not that much taller.
Maybe a short king. So then she comes out of the cauldron, skinny as a needle.
Yeah.
Because she's
our
so
skinny
tiny.
queen.
So
Our
then
skinny
they're
queen.
like, oh
And
my
then
God.
her lover's like,
He's like, thank God.
He's like, yes, we can have sex again.
I think they start, like, making out and probably, like,
do.
fucking on the
No,
Elaine.
they do. They immediately, I think, go have sex.
yeah, I think they probably fucked on the cauldron.
So then they all reconvene and they're like, okay, like, there's obviously more to be done because
Yeah.
now we don't have a king, so we'll have to settle some stuff out. But, like, hey, everyone, like, let's go home. Point. I don't know if they're home or they're still in the battlefield. And she goes, I never want to experience that again. We're making a new deal.
Yeah.
And he goes, what's this deal? And she goes, if I die,
You die, and if you die, I die.
Like, none of us should ever have to live in a world without each other. And he's like, that's a great idea.
Idiot.
Shake. They shake on it. A new tattoo appears on her hand, on both of their hands, and they're like, oh, this is perfect. Like,
Because wasn't it the...
they're like, oh my God, yay.
Wasn't it the eye that they used to have, right?
It was similar to her old tattoo. I don't know if it was exactly her old tattoo, but she's like, oh, missed it.
Yeah, and he was like, I'm just seeing that.
But they're like, oh my God, yay. No, we never have to live apart. So then that's kind of where the book ends.
That's where the book ends.
Like, it's a very, like, obviously because she wrote more books, there's, like, the looming of, oh my God, what's going to happen now that we don't have a king? What happens with that? But it's also, if she was just to write the trilogy, it's a good enough standalone trilogy.
and
yes.
dare I say, and I know this isn't helpful, but, like, we're obviously doing a lot of storytelling in this, but personally, I think this all comes to a point in book 5, and this is, like, this might seem like, yes, it's still, like, it's the thick of the story, but this is still lore building at this point. To me, at least.
This book is just lore building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we are an hour and 21 minutes in. We have to go. Okay, so I hope you're all enjoying our Acowar series. It's not ending anytime soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, make sure to ring that bell so you can get notified every time we post a video. All of our social medias are linked down below. Love you all. If you haven't read Acowar, what the fuck are you doing still listening to this episode? Babe, go read it.
Go read it.
Love you. Bye.